Right then, folks, welcome to another edition of Bluffers to Buffers. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben. And today, Bobby, we've got a genuine bit of consumer information.
Is that a vending machine?
Yes.
Awesome.
No, I bought a 3D printer, so this video here is an honest account of my first moments with it.
Cool.
Like a father and his newborn child, this is documenting from opening the box right through to the first print. And I'm going to be honest on how I found it. I spent a bit of time, because I thought I fancied a 3D printer, so I spent a bit of time researching. Because there's this and there was another one that I really should have prepared and found out what the name was. I'll put it on screen now. This one was actually cheaper, and I was going to buy the other one because I was put off by the fact that this is cheaper. But I saw a lot of reviews comparing the two. Yeah. And actually, what I was seeing, there was no real difference.
Brilliant.
So I've gone with this one. It's an Elegoo Mars Pro. £250 something, I think, on Amazon.
Not too bad, is it?
Well, ultimately, no. You get a box of tools there. We'll look at that in a minute.
Cool.
I like the foam packaging that it comes in.
Is that going to be reused?
Foam. No, I've got to throw it away. But it literally... It appealed to my I like to keep stuff for no real reason side of me, but no, throw it away. It was very well packaged in the box.
Wow.
Yeah. And it is quite an ergonomic bit of kit, actually. It looks quite nice for what it is.
Were you doing like I do when I buy new things? Like, I wonder what all these bits do.
No, because I'd watched the videos on Tinternet, so I kind of already knew. So when you first get it, obviously you've got to spend a bit of time just looking at it, which is what we're doing now. No, you've got to set it up, basically.
Right.
And that's something I read, that sometimes setting them up can be a bit of a faff.
Do you have to make sure like they're level and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's basically the key thing. The print plate's got to be perfectly level, and obviously...
So what's it got, like little adjustable feet or something?
It has. We'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, sorry.
So, yeah, that was purportedly the hardest bit of the whole thing, but actually, as you'll see, not too difficult at all. So you get a box of tools, which was very well equipped, I thought. You got a pokey thing, a scrapey thing, a pluglet and the power lead.
Power
maker.
Much
about that. Some gloves in a cup. I don't know what that is. Looks important. A little plastic scraper. Some nippy things for getting off the support. Some spare screws, Allen key and that. A USB stick, which is important. Some filters there.
Filters?
Yeah, and some face masks. So it's quite a comprehensive toolkit. I was
going to say, all this stuff makes it sound like it's quite dangerous.
No, so it's not. So look, here we go, look. Plugging her in. And yeah, that's just what you got on the back there. Power in, on-off switch and a USB. Obviously, as with every USB, you try it upside down first and then try it the right way. It's the law of USB. You can only try it upside down and then the right way up. Reading the instructions, which is a very thing to do. But this is the first bit of setup that you got to do, which is, it says you got to raise the print head up the
shaft?
Yeah, we'll go with shaft. Which is always simple, just push button, and that's that there. I'm putting
it like a little touch screen type thing?
Yeah. It's all very simple, very well, nicely laid out. And you got to loosen off the two Allen keys there, so it wibbly wobbles. Take that tray out. That's where your resin goes. You see it's wibble wobble in there, and then it says to get a bit of A4 paper and try it and slide it under the thing, but you couldn't get, as you can see, A4 does not fit in the space, so I had to get some modified A4 paper.
Modified A4?
It says quite clearly use A4 paper, but it doesn't fit, so I have trimmed my A4 paper to enable it to fit. So what you do then is you lower the print plate. You press a button, and what it does, it goes all the way down to the bottom, then lifts up and goes down again. And what it's doing is it's sort of levelling itself out. And the instructions tell you just to tighten it up at this point, and away you go. But after having watched online reviews, a lot of people said it's worth adjusting it so you can. It sort of just grips the paper, but not loads. So if you're setting the points in your anglia, it's enough to pull it out, but you can't push it back in, if you know what I mean. So it's just you can withdraw the paper, but when you try and push it back the other way, it sort of
it scruffles
there's
up.
There's resistance, yeah, and that's about the right height for setting the print head. And once it's in that position where it's doing that, as you can see, we're going up by 0.01 millimetre increments. That's how fine the tuning is on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you've done that, it's literally a case of tightening those two out and making sure the plate is square, and then tightening up those two Allen screws. And that's pretty much, you're almost good to go.
This is some fine art adjustment going on here, isn't
it to
there?
be right, mate. It's got to be right.
Oh, so you went a bit high there, didn't you?
Yeah, what I should have done is made this 300 speed.
What's that?
So that's just a little reminder of what I said about a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
Tight enough so that you can pull it out, but you can't push it back in. So you just saw there it was too high, so it's going back in a bit easy. So there we go. Pulls out but won't go in.
There you go.
I will get there in the end. Well, mate, it's my first time.
I'm enjoying it.
So there we go, squaring it up.
Do you leave the paper in there? No?
But when you tighten it up, you need the paper in there, obviously, because you know, it's relying on that to set itself as square sort of thing. I was doing a little bit of thinking about it.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm still perplexed by the fact you can 3D print. I think it's amazing.
Magic, isn't it? It's genuine magic. So there we go, nipping them off. We're keeping the print plate obviously square in the middle. And then you push the I don't know what I'm doing here, Bob. What I'm doing is showing you me tightening them up again. Oh, I remember now, actually.
Yeah.
I pushed the wrong button. When I was trying to take the paper out, I pushed the wrong button and it reset, so I had to redo it all again.
No!
I remember now. So that's why, viewers, you're seeing that twice. But, you know, it could happen to anyone. So there we go. We're now in a position, I've raised the print head up. We're now in the position where we can actually maybe have a look at doing some printing. Key also is making sure that the whole thing is sitting level on your work, your surface, hence why the spirit level appeared. So that counter in the shed isn't quite as flat as one would like it to be, so using the gift of bits of cardboard and paper, as you'll see in a minute, we're just levelling her up. But it's all stuff like that will affect the final print, so it's worth spending the time at this end.
So has he got adjustable feet then?
Do you know what? I haven't even looked. I'm going to check that when I get home. So now we're in a position where we can put the resin in the tub. A couple of people have actually asked already on Instagram about whether the resin smells, because there's a lot of health and safety instructions with it saying put masks on, put gloves on. I've got to be honest, I'd say enamel products smell a lot worse or have a lot more fumes than that resin.
Right.
It is very sticky and horrible, so you probably wouldn't want it on your skin, so I would definitely recommend gloves. So you fill that to 1/3 of the height and then tighten it down.
Passage of time.
And this is now just quickly the process that's there's on the USB stick you get with it that you've tried in upside down and the right way up. There is a test print, so you just select the test print and it does its own thing. The settings are already in there, so you just push the button.
I imagine you can have it hooked direct to your computer if you wanted. You
you just do it with USB.
Yeah, but if you had your computer nearby, can you just plug it straight in?
Possibly, but obviously it's a specific file. The software to slice the file comes with it. And there you go, it's on its way. Those things took about 5 hours to print, the test prints, because they're quite intricate things. So yeah, once it's off and running, you literally just pop the lid back on and walk away, because there isn't really much to see. Here we go, 4 and a bit hours later, probably 5, close to 5. That's them done.
Oh, so it sticks to the bottom of that plate.
Yeah, because it's sort of drawing them up, as it were.
Right, okay.
I was quite impressed at this stage. I think.
Have you sussed out how the magic works then?
It's done by UV exposure. So when you slice,
so you couldn't do. You'd need to keep this out of the sunlight.
Yeah,
and stuff.
It says quite specifically keep it out of the sun.
Right.
Now cleaning it up is a messy business, so it's definitely worth having them gloves. And also, you need your own shares in blue roll or kitchen roll or something. You will use a lot of that. And you can reuse the resin as long as you haven't left it out for more than a day or two, it says. So you pour it through the filter back into the bottle.
That's
Cleanliness, as they say, is next to godliness. So it's important to give this tank, or whatever you want to call it, the print screen, a really good clean up after every use.
Did you have to use a bit of thinners or anything like that?
No, you can use IPA alcohol, but it did come clean using just tissue.
Right.
Kitchen roll. But it's worth, if you're going to do some printing, I would say now, after having done a few this at the weekend, being prepared to do a couple of batches, as it were, a couple of different things, because it's a faff, keep filtering it back into there and cleaning it all off.
So just keep going with it.
Yeah, if you can, I think it makes sense to. Obviously, all right, it's not 10-15 minutes work, so it's not the end of the world, but also that's resin you're throwing away.
What was that?
So here we've transferred to the other shed, back with our comfortable overhead view. Gloves on. These are fresh out the printer, and you've got to try and prise them off using the plastic scraper provided, because you don't want to damage the print head there. It's important not to damage it, and they do come off. They're quite stubborn to begin with, but they do come off. And then that plate there can be, there's resin everywhere at this point, because they've literally just come out of the printer.
So once the printing process goes beep beep beep, done.
Yeah.
Do you have to leave it alone, or can you just start scraping it off and get on with it?
Once it's done, it's done.
That's it. You'd have to let it cure after that.
Well, there is a curing process, so. Now I'm just going through what I sort of saw on the internet. So you need to clean them with IPA.
That's a lot of
isopropyl alcohol. I bought this little Tupperware dish. Again, based on some recommendations. It's good because you put your printed products in the net basket, lower it into the alcohol, give it a little bit of a shake up or whatever, and then pull the basket out. 2 cleaned jobbies, rooks I think you might call them. And then to finish the cure, to follow on from what you were saying, so they're hard enough to handle now, they're not going to break, but you just get a UV lamp. So in this instance, borrowed the good lady wife's gel nail lamp and popped them under there.
Right, okay.
Because it's UV cured.
This needs to be done though, you can't get away
well,
with
you
it.
can leave them in the sun, but
right.
Obviously it's not as quick. But this just does the final.
And how long would you have left them under there, do you reckon?
I only did a couple of 90-second blasts.
Oh, really? As short as that?
Yeah. But some people have said leave them overnight, but I can't see that for small stuff like we're dealing with.
Right.
They felt plenty hard enough. Ideal presents. Here, children, have one of these each. Look what Daddy made for you. They loved it. You notice some white residue on those. Yeah. That bothered me a bit, so I did a bit of research, and we'll come to that in a minute on how to minimise that, or how I found to minimise that. So the first print was a success, which
but you were chuffed, weren't you?
Yeah, quite pleased. Bob's happy. Look.
Excellent. I bet he's going, where am I going to put these?
Yeah, but they're quite detailed, those little
They're
things.
very detailed.
They've got like steps going around in the middle of them, but I think
like
that's
the fact
really
it's got some writing on it.
It's a lot crisper than I was expecting, because we've bought some 3D printed products in the past that have been quite bitty.
Yeah, to say the least.
So then I was all confident after that, so I thought I'd have a go at printing properly. Just not. This is Tinkercad, free to use design software package on the internet. There are lots of pre-designed things on there as well, so you can print them off yourself. I just basically found some ovens, because I thought let's print some stuff for the scrapyard. so just duplicated a load on there, rescaled them to somewhere what I thought would be the correct scale for 1/76. So, you know, looked on Dixon's or whatever to oven sizes and then did the maths. Rescaled them, sort of duplicated them a few. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Just Google basically. So probably actually Amazon these days.
Yeah.
And then this is called Chitu box. This comes with the printer on the stick, so you have to install it on your computer. And this basically is preparing it for the print. So the file, your CAD drawing file, you import into this, and that's just showing you all the different layers that it prints.
Oh, right, so this is in theory your print plate.
Yeah. And that is what I just did there was every single layer that the printer does. It slices them up into little fine layers ready for printing. Again, you can redo the sizes and that in here. One thing I will say, I found that I printed this the first time, the scaling wasn't, whilst it was numerically accurate, it didn't look right.
To the eye?
No, I mean the ovens were tiny.
Right, gotcha.
So this is after I printed off these. I think this might have been the second attempt. Yeah, this is the second attempt. Because also I learnt a bit more about the finished articles. Because the first lot I did, I've photographed in a bit. Not only were they not too small, they weren't very detailed. And you'll see from the photographs. And this is just showing you the resin that's left on the plate there. This is all stuff that needs to be wiped off and cleaned off. So you definitely wouldn't want to do it without gloves. It is a bit of a messy job.
Is that still tacky at that point?
Yeah, it's tacky. As denoted by the hand gestures there.
That is universal.
That wasn't an Italian that's really nice food. What that's tacky.
It's the universal symbol for tackiness.
Yeah, or that's very nice in Italian.
Beautiful pasta.
Yeah. See, they come off all right, not too bad. Because what I also learnt to do in that Chitu box, you can put a little platform down, so that there's like a fine layer of the resin.
Yeah.
That makes it easier to scrape off and throw everywhere in your shed, as you've just seen there. So, I was more confident with this because I kind of, after I did the first print and they weren't as detailed as I'd hoped, I thought, well, this is going to be a waste of time because I only want to do small stuff, and if they're not going to be detailed, it's going to be pointless. But I went away, went on
that sinking feeling.
Yeah. Well, also, it also made some right funny noises for some real unknown reason when I went to do this print, and it needed the head resetting. So if you've bought one of these or you buy one of these as a result of this, and you go to do it and it makes some horrible grinding noises, rather than print, you basically need to reset the height of the print plate. For whatever reason, it had gone out of whack, but I did a couple of prints after this one and it was fine after that, so just something to bear in mind. Again, I thought, oh god, I've broken it already. That sinking feeling.
No.
But alas, it was okay. So that's the clean up of the plate. But yeah, like I say, it doesn't smell as bad as people make out. All right, maybe we're used to working with chemicals and what have you, but I would say enamel products are a lot more fume.
I didn't realise there was a thing about that. Yeah.
Enamel products are a lot more smelly. And
mate, when you open a bottle of enamel thinners or whatever, it's quite potent.
It is, whereas that's nothing like it. I mean, it's the Elegoo resin itself. So yeah, this is my second go, and what I didn't do the first time round was clean each item individually before putting it in the IPA. So what I'm doing here is, with a bit of kitchen roll, wiping off any excess resin, and also with a cotton bud, look. And that it brings out all the details so much better, because otherwise you just get a fine film of resin, and you wouldn't have. You can see the hood rings.
The rings, yeah.
You didn't see that on the first print because there was just a fine layer of resin sitting on there that just smoothed it out that little bit.
That's what you're using there to clean it.
Just literally kitchen roll and a cotton bud. I'm not using any chemicals at this stage.
So that's resin that you can see on the
That
kitchen
the wetness
roll.
is resin, yeah, excess
really?
resin. So that's how much there is on there. But it isn't really documented. This people are like querying how to get rid of the white residue and how to do it. And I looked at a few and thought, well,
is it quite oily then?
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. Wouldn't have thought that.
No. So I thought what I'm going to do is try cleaning them all off individually before putting them in the IPA bath.
Yeah.
And that was much better results.
So it's a good thing about that. You just leave that in there and keep reusing it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why I did it like that. A couple of people said you can use methylated spirits to do the same job, so I might give that a try because isopropyl is
cheaper.
A bit difficult to come by at the minute and quite expensive. Such as the gig economy that we find ourselves in. So there you go. On the right hand side is my first effort at a scale oven, and you can see there's just no detail there.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
I
was pretty disappointed by that first effort. And like I say, that was it. I inputted the correct dimensions, and as you can see, it's tiny. Whereas this second one, I just tweaked the dimensions to what I thought might look a bit better.
Yeah.
And it works, you know. I think there's a picture of Bob, and these are engines, Willis Jeep engines.
Sweet.
You can't really tell from this picture. Once you've got a bit of primer on them, the detail is there. And that is one of my first prints. Again, a lot of the details lost because we didn't clean the resin off. I'll tell you what, trying to pick that up whilst looking through the camera lens was not easy. But I just printed the engines purely, so we've got some bits above kicking around at the scrapyard.
Yeah, nice.
But that's what this enables you to do. Just anything you think, oh, I fancy that, let's just print it off. But as you can see, the excess residue, not only does it dull the details, but you get this white.
How mad is that?
Build up. So that's lesson learnt. There's an oven and an engine.
Brilliant. The oven come out right, doesn't it? It's kind of got that sort of 70s, 80s vibe going on,
I was
isn't
pleased
it?
with it.
Electric hob.
Gas hob, mate, gas hob.
I reckon it's like those electric pronounced rings. You remember them?
Could be. See, there's the oven next to Bob.
Yeah,
potentially
right
could
size.
be a bit bigger, I don't know really. Bob's at HO rather than 00 anyway, but
yeah. He's going to struggle to get that in there on his own though, and he bless him.
Well, I don't think he's worried about why it got left there.
Fly tipping?
In a scrapyard. We wouldn't have thought this is the world we live in, or they live in. So that's basically it, Bob. That was my warts and all first effort with a 3D printer, and I've got to say I was pleasantly surprised.
Good luck. This is going to have hours of epic fun, I feel.
I think you might be right, mate.
I think the next thing you should print is a 3D printer.
What a full size one. Good idea, man.
Scale model.
But once I've done a bit with it in time, we'll maybe report back with another video, let people know how we're getting on with it. But
I've already seen you sneakily looking at other things you're going to print.
well, actually,
and I'm quite
before
excited.
we came in and did this, I was designing like a live axle.
I saw it, yeah, I like it.
Just a pile of axles in the scrapyard.
Brilliant.
Basically. Anyway, that's us. If you've enjoyed this video or any of our other videos, please do subscribe. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well. Bluffers to Buffers or Red Knob End Junction. Got anything to say, Bobby?
No, looking forward to the other things for me to do. I expect I'm going to have to paint all these things.
Correct.
In fact, the bag you gave me earlier, that will keep me busy all week.
Good stuff.
Yeah, happy days.
Right, thanks for watching.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.
Bye.